So the attainable utopia of a thriving family unit. What is it? Why is it important? And how can we create it? Well, what is it, first of all? Okay, to have a thriving family unit, it doesn't mean that there is no friction. Okay, it doesn't mean that there is no conflict or there are never any disagreements. You know, in any situation with multiple people, there will always be multiple opinions, multiple personalities, multiple preferences, multiple ways of doing things, and of course, you know, multiple communication styles, right? So it simply means that love, joy, peace, and harmony reigns in our home, even amidst those disagreements and the occasional arguments. Does that make sense? So why is this important? Because for every woman that I have ever known, and I'm just gonna generalize here and say all women, okay? I think for this applies to all women, what I'm about to say. And it is that I don't really believe that any woman is whole and happy if her family isn't strong, healthy, and united. Would you agree? Because that is how we're wired as women. We're wired to be the caretaker and the unifier and that common thread that holds our entire family together. So if we have discord in our family, it doesn't matter how much money we're making or how successful we are or how beautiful our house is or, you know, any of those things. None of those things matter if we feel like we're broken, if our core unit is broken on the inside. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a thriving family unit and why I feel it's important. So now let's get to the important part, which is how can we create it? And I would love to hear from you whether or not you agree. So please let me know if you agree with me so far and let me know your thoughts and your feedback as we're going through this. So how can we create it? I'm going to share with you just very, very quickly 6 steps. Okay, the 6 most important things on how to create a thriving family unit. First of all, we've got to get clear on what it is that we want. I hope y'all can hear me over that airplane. We've got to get clear on what it is that we want. So what does a thriving family unit look like to you? Okay, and that would include the relationship with your family as a whole, in addition to your relationships with each individual family member. So we want to start with the end in mind, just like we're going to do with everything else that we focus on here as a Digging Deeper tribe. You know, we always start with the end in mind, and we look at exactly what it is that we're wanting to create with our family. Like we want to create the picture on the back of the box before we start putting the puzzle together, right? We've got to know what it is that we want. Like my dad always says, it can be challenging to hit a moving target, but it is darn near impossible to hit an invisible one. Okay? Step number 2, we're gonna put a plan of action in place of how we think we would want to get there. Okay? So of course that involves our discretion, our discernment, our emotional intelligence coming into play and looking at how are we gonna move the family from point A to point B. And remember, there is a solution to everything if we are willing to dig deep enough, y'all, right? I'm gonna say that again. There is a solution to everything if we are willing to dig deep enough. Okay, number 3, we gotta get the team on board. Who's the team? The family, of course. We've gotta get the team on board. And remember, people support what they help to create. And one of the things that I could definitely encourage you to use, something that has worked really well for us, when we're getting the family on board, if we're gonna have a family meeting or we're gonna have a powwow and we bring think of it as a business, okay? If you are the CEO of a Fortune 100 company, you're gonna bring together your executives, your board members, and you're gonna get everybody on the same page with what it is that your mission wants to accomplish, right? Well, why would we do anything less with our family? Why do we go out every day to our jobs and our businesses and our careers and we give everyone around us the best version of ourselves? And then we come home at the end of the day and we give our family our leftovers. What is that? Why are we wired to do that? Why have we been programmed to do that for generation after generation after generation? And we can choose to rewrite that legacy. And we can choose that when we come into our doors with our family at the end of the day, we can stop and we can have a little pep talk with ourselves in the garage before we walk in the back door, and we can negotiate with our body to find more strength. And we can choose to turn the dial up on our emotions so that we can be available and present, and literally by thinking about it and bringing our energy and focus to it, we can fill our cup just by sitting in our car for 30 seconds. And we can choose to have enough strength and enough energy to give our family our best for the evening or whenever it is that we're going to be together as a family, right? Okay, so if we can do that on a little micro level, then we would definitely want to do the same thing with our family on a whole. If we're going to bring our family, our board members, right? That's who they are. They're the board members of our family. They're our family members. So if we want to bring them together, and let's get clear and identify what is our mission as a family. Who do we stand for? What do we stand for? What do we represent? What are our ideals? What are our philosophies? What are our priorities? What do we want to achieve together? Who do we want to be? Not just what do we want to do, but who do we want to be? And put some commitments together. Put some family commitments together, to commitments to love, commitments to each other. And, for example, maybe you have a commitment that would be, we are quick to apologize and we're quick to forgive. So if we feel like we messed up, it's a safe place that we can always come and apologize. And if someone is apologizing to us, then we want to be quick to forgive. So, it works both ways, right? On both sides of the fence. So be quick to apologize and quick to forgive. Okay, tip number 4, identify any trouble spots and make a plan for how to overcome them. So let me give you an example. Let's say maybe in your house, maybe you don't argue very often, but when you do, maybe it becomes like a big hairy deal, lots of drama, like the world is ending, okay? So maybe you want to find a different way to disagree. So a lot of people, they never sit down and think through what is our policy for how we're going to experience disagreements. That is a game changer, y'all. If you were really sit down and say, if we disagree, it's perfectly okay to disagree, but how can we disagree in a respectful way? How can we disagree in a way that is more healthy and, everyone feels everyone that's involved in the disagreement, or everyone that is witness to the disagreement, feels less beaten down at the end. Okay, so again, look at any trouble spots. Where are your weak links? The old saying, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So look at your team, look at where are the weak links, where are the breakdowns in communication or the breakdowns in the family, and if I can identify those trouble spots and do some quick mending and put together some solutions and some options, then everyone is going to feel much more willing and capable of climbing out of those pits and climbing out of those holes, because we already put a plan together in the first place, right? So it's very similar to, when you have young kids, it's very popular and safe and a good idea to make an emergency plan of action. So God forbid if there's a fire in your house, do all of the kids know how to get out of the house? What are the emergency exit routes? How to get out of a window or out of the door or the back door or the front door? And where's the emergency meeting? When I was a kid, the emergency meeting was we all met at the mailbox if there were anything to happen, God forbid. So if you don't have a plan of action for an emergency, then how do you know what to do when a situation happens? So same thing with a family. If we don't have a plan of action for when something goes wrong, then we're left to our own devices. And usually what happens is we fall back on our negative, unhealthy programming from when we were kids. And we just slip into this subconscious, this unconscious reactionary way of communicating. And a lot of times it's very animalistic, it's very selfish, it's very driven by our ego. And we look back and we go, who was that? What was that? That's not who we want to be. So if we can, when we're not emotionally engaged, when we're calm, if we can put together a plan for ourselves and for our whole family, and we can have the whole family, and you can make it funny. You can laugh at each other. You can laugh with each other. You can laugh at some of the goofy things that happened in the past when you had explosions. You can, make it humorous if it's, of course, painted with love. And then they can all be involved in creating a successful strategy for how to move forward in the future when it comes to, identifying those trouble spots. And ask them, by the way, kids are so honest. Ask them, where do I lose it? Where are weak links? Ask for their input. How do you think, when I blow it, when I lose my cool, what happens? How does it make you feel? How can I fix it? If I'm angry or if I'm sad or if I'm disappointed or frustrated and I need to communicate with you, how do you want me to share it with you? And ask for their input, okay? Now, next, step number 5, learn to forgive and love yourself wholly. It's so important, okay? Because if you can't do that, until you do that, you are never going to be able to fully give that to the people around you. You cannot teach what you do not know. You cannot lead where you do not go. You can't give away what you don't have. So if our cup is empty, then how on earth can we give to the people around us? So that's why it's really, really important that we make sure that we are able to love ourselves, that we're able to forgive ourselves, because until we can do that, we are not going to have the skills and the awareness to be able to love and forgive the people around us who mean more to us than anybody else in the world, right? And last but not least, step number 6, repeat, okay? Repeat as often as necessary. And of course, we can go up a level each time. So anytime that we realize that the energy of our family isn't where we want it to be, or the communication with our family, or the harmony, the peace, the joy within our family is not where we want it to be, we can go back to all 6 of these steps and we can repeat them as often as necessary. And of course, again, our strengths and our skill level and our ability to go through them almost innately, intuitively, will get stronger every time.